Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, agents. I'm Manny Carl, and welcome to a Let's Talk right here on The Division. In today's Division Let's Talk, we are going to talk about the potential that was wasted on The Division and all of the potential that could be pushed into The Division 2. Because let's face it, in the video game world, the second one is obviously the original game, the original vision of that game. And we just want to see The Division 2 with so much potential, and we want all that stuff that was potentially going to go into The Division 1 to be put into The Division 2. So The Division had so much potential, it was ridiculous. So for today, we're going to go over all the stuff that should have been in Vanilla Division and put together the wish list of things that needs to be in Division 2 for it to be a great game. The Division 2, if we just went off the stuff they put in the Division 1, would fail right out of the gate. The Division was already delayed enough. It was delayed a long time. And what we got when it was released was a blast for the first levels, mostly because we hadn't made it to the end game yet, and we had a great time seeking out new ways to get loot. I mean, there was, a lot of really cool stuff in the early game, and most of it was loot hunting. Now, the game is just loot giving. It's just, that's it, loot giving. It was just handing out loot right now, and even with the massive amounts of loot being handed out, people would still trade in conventional play for easy loot glitches. So let's take a look at all the cool stuff in the Division that should be in The Division 2. The one thing The Division did was probably give us one of the biggest disappointments, and that was the base of operations, where you had so much cool stuff that you unlocked that did absolutely nothing but open up a bunch of trash abilities. Why would a gunsmith allow you to unlock something that had very little to do with guns? Canine unit, no impact on the game. Hell, the canine unit did very little for our game, except add a dog that ran around the base of operations, caused you to be pushed out of the menu if you were near the dog and it decided it needed to pace around for whatever useless reason it had. The Division 2 needs these things to be put in, and it needs to have something to do with all of these things to be put in the game, whether it's building class operatives so that you can have a canine companion go on missions with you, be a healer, or something else. Give the users options based on the important objects they unlock. Why unlock something that does absolutely nothing? It has nothing to do with it. Why would I unlock something and it just magically gives me a smart cover and a perk? I mean, let us choose what we want to unlock. Make a path for us to go down so that we can go into a tech build or a healing build or security. I know a lot of people really enjoy the fact that you can do build making in this game, but for the most part, that's what's creating the problems with this game. While you may not think it now, it actually makes you choose what you want to do in the game rather than giving you the ability to be the jack of all trades and decide that one day you want to do this meta and the next day you want to do the next. Let the gunsmith station be a weapons crafter. Canine unit gives you the ability to have a pet. Healer gives you the ability to keep your group from dying. This would help build a much more vibrant ecosystem and stop all the meta building bullshit we see now. This also gives way to group play instead of having everyone run around with the same damn build everywhere. Let people play the game how they want to play instead of forcing them to play the meta. Yeah, it's a choice, but so is whether or not we buy the next game. Playing the meta is really not a huge choice. Playing the meta is basically everybody wants to be good at this game. Everybody. There's not a person that says, I'm going to be the healer because I don't want to be good at this game. Everybody looks at the meta, they look at the builds that are being made on YouTube, and they go with those. So that's what's going to go with it. So you end up with a meta, and you end up with a minority running other classes and, looking for something, the next thing to do. Next, make abilities class specific and make them so they aren't game breaking. You can put in seeker mines in the game. No problem. But do you need 3 versions and then a modifier once you unlock everything? No. You went and you made something way oversimplified. You guys are not oversimplified, the exact opposite of oversimplified. You took what should have been simple game mechanics and you added BS to them that nobody needed. Like, there was no reason to add in a bunch of extra additional stuff. There's just no reason for it. No, if you're going to make 3 versions of an item, just make it balanced so they aren't being game breaking all the time. The way that seekers are right now, they should, they should have a standard seeker for DPS, an airburst gas seeker for crowd control and disorientation, and your multi-ball for area of effect damage. This needs to be done for all gadgets. Also, remove the gadgets that aren't useful. Get rid of mobile cover. The ballistic shield makes it redundant. Get rid of smart cover. There's nothing technical about shooting something against a wall and giving you a bonus. There's no reason for that stuff. Let's get to the heart of the game and make it a bit more simulation, a bit less fantasy bullshit. I mean, there's so much fantasy in this game and fake technology. Like, it's just like they sat around a table and went, well, we need something, and they just kind of threw it at the wall. I mean, it's the way some of this stuff was come up with. It was like an afterthought, and they just kind of threw it in the game. Turrets. Happy for there to be a tech class that uses turrets, but like Seekers, make them balanced. 3 turrets, DPS turret, AoE turret, and crowd control turret. It's simply, it's simple to not overcomplicate this game with the amount of stuff, and you probably wouldn't have had all of the delays that you had if you had kept it simple. KISS, keep it simple, stupid. That's what this game should have been. Instead, you were like KISS, ING, BT, LMNO, HIJ, and you overcomplicated the game. If you aren't going to spec into a class, you don't get to use that gadget, or you get, or you can unlock it, but it won't be as effective. Make trees, make paths, make things so that when you go into the Division 2, you're going in as a class-based system. I understand the openness of wanting to let everybody kind of do what they want at any given time, but that doesn't work because that makes way for the meta, and everybody runs the meta, and then it's not fun to play, just like it is now. I mean, I'm not really saying anything that's not known, but this is how the Division 2 needs to be if it's going to make people want to play it. It needs to go down the traditional route. If you're gonna make an RPG, make it so that there's class-specific things. Next thing in the Division 2 that needs to be is that we need to get rid of the 90% of the bullshit RNG on weapons, armors, and stats. Weapon damage. Make each weapon have 1 base damage based on the type of munition it takes. 7.62 is stronger than 9mm, but 9mm may shoot faster. With armor and stats, easy. Keep armor, get rid of random stat garbage. Let the type of mods you choose to put on your equipment be the modifier. Let players choose if they want armor, resistance, ammo capacity, damage to enemies, whatever that modifier is. Let the player choose what they want to put onto the weapon. No more RNG. Just give us a base one. That way we can go ahead. We have a base armor. It's 900 for a chest piece or 1200 for a chest piece, and it doesn't change. It is the same no matter what. And sure, yeah, you can have different levels. Level 1, level 2, level 3 has 1000, 1200, 1500 based on your level. That's it. Just stop with all the RNG. There's no reason for it. Nobody likes the RNG. Nobody likes the recalibration station. Everybody finds this game just absolutely bullshit at times, and these things need to change in Division 2. Make this stuff simplified so that we, the players, can modify this stuff the way we want to, not the way Massive decides they want us to. I don't need to have 15 pieces of sentry. Why make it random? It seems like I'm just breaking down vanilla Division, and I shouldn't have to, have 15 pieces of sentry chest pieces clogging up my inventory. I should have tons of mods. I should have 1 chest piece. And I just can't figure out which one is better. Which one's better for the build that I'm trying to optimize? Let me optimize it based on the mods and be able to put the mods on there rather than some random RNG min-max bullshit for this game. I think a better way to min-max your armor instead of having to recalibrate 100 times and hope for RNG to smile down upon your smiley happy ass is to remove the bonus stats from all gear and put them toward mods. Let the mods be the controller RNG of the game. Make the mods desirable. Make it so that you need mods, that you can craft mods more than just 25 sets of Hunter's face masks taking up my inventory. That's all we're asking. Stop it. Just stop making this game so damn complicated that you need a mathematics degree or a physics degree to figure this shit out. Like, why do I need to go to YouTube to figure out what the meta is or the best build? Like, that's really, I don't need to do that in the Division 2. What I need is a simplified game where I can do the same stuff as the Division. I can still make the builds, but I can make them using the mods or the gear sets or something like that, but they don't have any stats except for the base stats that you put on them, and everything is the same. Start with the base of it. That way I don't need to go around getting 15 Hunter's Faith Mask or 15 Sentry Call Mask or whatever it is that I need to do. Next, make loot exciting again. I understand handing out loot to the masses. I understand that. I understand that people were leaving the game and you guys had to entice people by, you know, giving the casuals something to grasp onto. Giving someone 1,000 pieces of gear a week is going to benefit all the players, but it also dilutes the game and makes it boring. The reason for the outrage and outcry from the community wasn't because we weren't getting enough loot, it's because the loot we were getting was trash for spending 5 hours in Falcon's Lost. It was garbage. We shouldn't get garbage loot for spending 5 hours at a task. We should get something exciting. Let's take a step back and make it so when that one piece of loot drops, it's actually worth something. Like back when we ran the DZ and you would see that yellow beam of light stretch out from the sky and you knew that it was something, well, actually you knew it was probably garbage, but it was still better garbage than what you had. I mean, the lack of amazing loot in this game, or the lack of loot that was the same drop over and over again, like Lone Star from HVTs, gets old real quick. HVTs were awesome addition to the game, but then Massive took and made it not worth doing because it just handed out Lone Star backpacks that spec'd into electronics. No one asked for that, and no one wanted it. I mean, there is a ton of stuff that you could have done with this game, but you listen to the bad ideas from within. And now here we are as a community looking at year 2 and looking at the Division 2, trying to help put this together. And that is really what we need to do. We need to be able to build the gear that we want based on the stacks that we have. So if I want to run a Sentry's Call with a Nomad gear set, I should be able to do that. And then I should be able to choose the modifiers that I put on there, not RNG. RNG is bullshit and needs to be gone. Needs to be gotten rid of. There maybe, make RNG attached to the mods, but it doesn't need to be attached to the gear sets. Just get rid of it. Just get rid of it and let us put the mods that we want to put onto the stuff, onto the gear sets. So lastly, and by lastly I mean the last thing for this video, make the endgame as engaging as the first original levels. The Division 2 needs to be as engaging after level 30 as it is 1 through 30. Don't force us into your idea of an endgame when we'll either want to play it or we won't want to play it. We don't need to be forced into the DZ for gear. Give the users a choice of content for endgame, or simply don't make any endgame. Make a multiplayer, experience that revolves around the story content and is fun and engaging. The Last Stand is a good start, but it needs to be refined. Game modes should be a combination of like survival, battle royale, The Last Stand, capture the flag with a few game modes, capture the flag, deathmatch, team deathmatch, or whatever the other standard game modes are. Personally, capture the flag with fuse boxes. How hard is that? You already have the game mechanic integrated, so why not just add that? 1.8, add in a capture the flag, or where you two sides are trying to vie to turn on the lights in their side of the tower. So you pick up the fuse and you walk and you have your pistol just like everything else, and your team has to help you out. Just make that happen. Make the tech you gained from the underground also. You already have that mechanic, so that mechanic's in there, but now make the tech you gained from the underground an actual part of the game too. Not just the side part, where the DLC. You want to go ahead and make it part of the game. Make the user stories that aren't the main missions that you're going to use for your daily missions and stuff. Make those missions random, so that when we run them every time, they're different. And just have the places like Russian consulate and general UN assembly, make those the standard stuff. Make those the same every time, that but make the other stuff random. Make the there's no reason, and I love Police Academy to death, but there's no reason for that to be the same every time. It's a strange mission that it's super short, but it doesn't need, Garrison's apartment or, Amherst's apartment. That doesn't need to be the same. There could be ways to change that up, like using the tech from the underground. You can make story missions feel different each time by taking that tech and adding it to the game. Okay, I said that was last night, but one more. Release a finished game. Don't con us. We're smart. We understand what it is, and we're tired of Ubisoft's bullshit. To be honest, Division 2 may be one of the lowest selling titles that Ubisoft has ever made, because people are just tired of Ubisoft screwing over people over and over again, and basically the bait and switch, showing something at E3 that gets us excited and then dumping it and giving us a garbage heap and then kind of adding to it along the way. And make sure that the DLC isn't part of that original game. Make sure that the DLC is actual DLC. We already went through this, and there are a lot of people who sadly won't even give the Division 2 a second look, no matter how great the game is. Ubisoft continues to put out games that are half done, servers that are half working, and we see this as consumers, and we wonder why the company that makes some of our favorite games hates its players so much. I love a lot of Ubisoft games, from Assassin's Creed, The Crew. I mean, The Crew's not that great of a game, but it's still fun. I enjoy it. Like, Assassin's Creed is a great one, but when they put out Assassin's Creed Unity, I threw it down, and I haven't picked it up since they, even though they updated it and fixed it, I didn't pick it back up. That's ridiculous. I shouldn't have to play a broken game on release. That's not something the consumer should have to do. I'm not a bug tester. I don't work for Ubisoft. I should not have to go through that, and neither should you. You have money in your pocket. When you spend it, you should be getting a product that is representative of the amount of money that you're spending on it. And mark my words, if Ubisoft continues to do it, there's a reason why Vivendi Universal is trying to take them over. And it might not be the fact that they put out crappy games. It might just be that they want that, money from whatever games they are. So anyways, take 2 seconds out of your time. People aren't going to give Division 2 a second look if Ubisoft keeps going down the way. We just want to know why they hate their players so much. So that's all I got for you. All right, so that's my time. I appreciate you hanging in there and watching this until the very end. If you didn't see my last video, I gave away gift cards for $10 on Xbox Live. Unfortunately, I don't have anything this time, but I do have a few more items coming that I can hand out. So thank you so much for watching. Like and sub if you haven't. Follow me on Twitter for all my streams, because I randomly give away a lot of keys for games and stuff like that during the streams and whatnot. There's usually like 10 to 15 people just hanging out, waiting for that stuff. People, and these people are just, reaping the benefits of all that stuff. So with that said, for all of us here at the Division Let's Talk, I am Manny Curl, and we'll see you next time. Agent out.